Are affordable watches actually worth it? And I know that a lot of watch collectors will say basically yes or no, but I think watch collecting, at least good watch collecting, is a lot more nuanced than that. So I'm going to give you my answer. I think yeah, but with some definite restrictions. There are some awesome affordable watches out there. There's some really crappy ones out there. It's the most competitive part of the watch market. There is more choice in the affordable range of things, which I would classify, really anywhere under $700. I know even 700 is a big chunk of change for most people, but when you consider you can buy $700,000 watches, $700 is, I would say is the affordable side of things. Before I get down into the details, share my opinions, share my reasoning, share my experiences. Thanks to the sponsor of today's video, which is Artem Straps out of Adelaide, Australia. Artem specializes in sailcloth straps and premium FKM rubber straps. This is a brand that I wear regularly. I have long enjoyed Artem well before they became a sponsor of my channel. So if you're looking for a great premium FKM rubber strap or sailcloth strap for your sports pieces, definitely check them out. A link is below. Now, here is what I would suggest to kind of the new watch collector who is trying to be reasoned and logical in getting into this hobby and starting collecting watches. And I think it's good advice for those of us that are pretty seasoned vets in collecting wrist watches and appreciating horology in general. And that is, be careful because it's such a slippery slope. I know I started with affordable watches, and before I knew it, I was, I'd be buying this Seiko and that Casio and this micro brand and this Laco from Deutschland. And all of those affordable watches, they add up quickly. So whereas I would have been like, you know what, I'm just never going to spend $2,000 on a watch. Before I know it, I've spent more than that on, let's say, 4 affordable watches or 5 or 6. And, there's not necessarily anything bad in doing that. But at the onset, be open and honest with yourself and go, you know what? Before I go hog wild and fall down this slippery slope, how much do I want to spend on watches? And really reflect on that and why, and do some homework on, okay, what watch would I buy if I had $1,000? What about if I had $1,500? What if I only had $300? And really find what you enjoy, or try to find what you enjoy at those respective prices, and go into it going, listen, I don't feel comfortable going more than, let's say, $2,000. So I'm going to try to be reasoned, try to be logical, and I'm going to start with this $1,000 diver because it's my favorite. And then maybe I'll add this $300 micro brand or whatever the case may be. That way you go into it with a plan. I always recommend trying to be logical when it comes to watch collecting, watch purchasing, and whatnot, because this is a hobby where it's easy to spend money in servicing and repairs and building strap collections and storage options and all sorts of things. You can really spend money getting watch art and other things. So if you try to be logical about it, I think that's a great thing. But here's another thing to consider. I absolutely believe that though we try to be logical and methodical when it comes to watch collecting, we try to be smart and buy bang for buck, it's a completely emotional hobby. So I always want to try to be logical, but I recognize in the end, the heart wants what it wants. And so that's why I've kind of, I've just kind of found my sweet spot. I like sport watches. I like divers. I like watches that are waterproof and have good lume and have good original designs that are a little bit on the larger side. And I just enjoy those the most. So my collection is mostly made up of those types of watches. And I've also found that I enjoy watches that cost $400 on up to $4,000 on up to $40,000, which was my most expensive watch purchase that I did a couple years ago now with a Rolex Day-Date. So I find enjoyment all across the spectrum, but it's about honing in on your sweet spot, because I do think that there is such a thing as diminishing returns. You know, you can buy a great $5,000 Breitling or Omega or Zenith or whatever the case may be, and then you look at a $10,000 Rolex. Is there a difference in quality? Well, certainly there is. Is there a $5,000 difference in quality? I would argue in many cases, no, there's not. There is a level where you start to spend a lot more, but you might not be getting a lot more in that added value or going up to the next level in terms of quality or fit or complication. So really try to find, where you have the most enjoyment, where your emotion fits within your logical plan. And hopefully you can find that sweet spot. And hopefully I'm making sense to those of you watching this video. So I would say on the whole, are affordable watches actually worth it? Yes. Speaking for myself, my own experience, I've had a lot of affordable watches, but I found my sweet spot is a little bit higher. I would say it's like entry-level luxury, maybe mid-level. I like the Marine Master. I like my Black Bay. I like a used Panerai that's nearly 20 years old. Those are probably my most worn watches. If I look at my wrist rotation, and I spent anywhere from $1,500 to $3,500 on those. So that being said, I'm going to have fewer affordable watches because I need that money for that sweet spot that I found for myself. And you might be different. You might be going, Bruce, you have a Panerai and a Tudor and a Seiko. You could have bought a Glashütte original. Are you crazy? Yeah, I am crazy, but that's the thing. We all value different things. I still like the higher end too. I still like the affordable. I'm wearing one of my affordable watches today. This is a Seiko. This is an in-house Japanese-made diver with a beautiful dial. It's nice and large. It has the great handset, the monster hands. And, I spent about $300 on this. And what could I get for $300? Maybe some watch art or an extra strap for my Panerai. Like you have to really think about where this money is going and how much fun you can have with that budget. So I have a couple affordables. Most of them are Seiko. And I do wear them. I do appreciate them. I do think that they're hard to beat for the money, but my sweet spot's a little bit higher up in the tier, so to speak, and that might be different for you. So in a roundabout, rambling way, I say yes, affordable watches are worth it, but watch yourself. Try to be logical. Plan out how much money you want to stick, in your budget, and try to follow along with that. But let your heart lead you, or your emotions lead you to that sweet spot, because that's where we're trying to go as collectors, to have as much fun as possible in this silly luxury hobby. Those are my opinions. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have an experience. Maybe you bought 20 micros and regretted it and wanted to buy one Omega. Maybe you started out with a Breitling and you wish you would have started with 5 Seikos. Tell me all about it in the comment section. Check out Artem Straps. Thanks for watching today. I'll see you next time.